Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. Michelle Obama says that she didn't get enough grace. I'm sorry to think she's either a professional victim or just really forgetful.
That as a first black couple, we couldn't afford any missteps.
Yeah.
And you also say, as a black woman, I was under a particularly white hot glare. Did you feel that?
For sure. You can't afford to get anything wrong because you didn't get at least until the country came to know us, we didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
The press treated Michelle like she was Beyonce's cooler older sister. They treated Melania like she was a defendant at Nuremberg. Michelle Obama complaining about treatment is like Oprah complaining she can't get a table at Applebee's. George Clooney regrets Kamala almost as much as he regretted those Batman nipples.
We had a chance. I wanted there to be, as I wrote in the op-ed, a primary. The mistake with it being Kamala is that she had to run against her own record, and it's very hard to do if the point of running is to say I'm not that person. You know, it's hard to do. And so she was given a very tough task. I think it was a mistake, quite honestly, but
basically, Clooney just said Kamala would have been great if she wasn't Kamala. George Clooney, king of the obvious. Next, he'll tell us that Ocean's 12 wasn't as good as the first one. Jennifer Lawrence discovered that Republicans buy movie tickets. Lawrence, who spent years trashing Republicans and President Trump, now seems to regret her past attacks on conservatives. She's calling it personal growth. Her accountant is calling it basic math. While on a podcast, the host tried to get her to share her thoughts on politics, but Lawrence declined, saying this.
I don't really know if I should. I think the first Trump administration was so wild, and just how can we let this stand? I felt like, but as we've learned, election after election, celebrities do not make a difference whatsoever on who people vote for.
She went on to say that she's beginning to lean away from talking about her politics. She's leaning away from politics the same way that the rest of us have been leaning away from her movies. Nicki Minaj praised President Trump for standing up for Christians, and liberals somehow heard, "Hail Satan." Famous rapper Nicki Minaj thanked President Trump for talking about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. President Trump had posted this on Truth Social. Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamicists are responsible for this mass slaughter. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. Nicki Minaj responded by saying this on X. Reading this made me feel a deep sense of gratitude. We live in a country where we can freely worship God. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion. Thank you to the President and his team for taking this seriously. God bless every persecuted Christian. Let's remember to lift them up in prayer. So progressives were choosing between Trump bad versus genocide bad, and somehow Trump bad won. Now the left doesn't hate Christianity, they just wish that it came with fewer Christians. Only Gavin Newsom could accidentally roast himself while pretending to be sincere. When California Governor Gavin Newsom was asked why he wanted to be president, this is what he said in response.
Ask you, why do you want to be president?
I don't. I'm not suggesting I am. I'm saying in response to someone talked about it, and I hate when nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
Gavin Newsom roasting himself is the first controlled burn he's handled correctly. And now let's go to the comments section. So let's first look at some comments on the segment we did about Nancy Pelosi, where she was kind of ripping on people who go to church. And she was also had her weird Southern accent. And in that segment, I started with the joke, I didn't know that Botox could affect your accent, because Nancy had an accent going. And we had this comment from Yuda Inamic. That's not Botox, it's formaldehyde. And then we have this comment from me, John D. 4547. That wasn't Nancy talking, it was the vodka. Yeah. Has anyone seen Nancy Pelosi sober? Just all of you who are in California, have you ever seen a clip where you thought she was 100% sober? Because I don't know that I have. She always seemed as a little bit tossed. I mean, varying degrees. It's kind of depending on how much hand waving she's doing or slurring, but I don't know that I've ever seen a straight up sober Nancy. Just wondering if that clip even exists out there. Okay, this is from Henry Pate, C2M. You can tell the devil doesn't even want this one. Hence, she's still breathing. And that cracked me up because I just thought, I bet you the devil would be so scared if Nancy Pelosi were to enter the gates. Like, I'm sure that he's never ever given the gate guard there in hell notes like, don't let this person in, except for Nancy. He probably has like a wanted poster just said, let everyone in down here, but not Nancy, because she'll probably take over, honestly. I mean, he probably would be out of a job soon because Nancy would push him out. Okay. Then we did a segment talking about AOC and how she and her boyfriend haven't gotten married, and it helps because of this loophole with reporting, they don't have to report her husband's finances. So there's kind of a black hole on what's going on with how much money he has or his assets because of that. And we had a number of people saying, hey, don't they have common law marriage? And so because of that, shouldn't she have to report? So I thought let's just look into that a little bit because of the number of comments talking about common law marriage. Here's one of the examples. This is from Tony Wielden, 1466. If AOC has been living with her partner since 2016, isn't that a common law marriage? So I looked into this a little bit. I am a lawyer, but I'm not a family lawyer, so I don't really do divorces. But I did look into this a little bit. Divorce law, common law marriage is defined by each state, so it really depends on what state you're in. And they usually take into account a lot of different factors before they decide if it would be a common law marriage. But let's look at New York, because that is where she and her boyfriend live. And this is just from some law firm's website, but I did verify this with a number of different references. Common law marriage in New York. Does New York recognize common law marriage? New York is one of the states that do not recognize common law marriage. This means that regardless of how long a couple has lived together in New York or how they present themselves to others, they are not considered legally married in the eyes of the state unless they have obtained a valid marriage license and had a formal ceremony. In 1933, New York abolished common law marriage through the passage of this particular act. So, New York does not have common law marriage. All right. Thank you for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.